It is finally time to replace the analog stick on my PS4 controller. It's definitely seen better days. It is cracked. It's given me some issues on gaming, and that isn't gonna fly. So we're gonna go ahead and replace it. I actually took one off of one of my other controllers, still perfect condition, so I'm just gonna swap them out. Even if it isn't a physical defect, a faulty joystick on a controller can lead to a lot of different issues. A big one being stick drift, which will definitely negatively impact your gaming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go step by step on how to disassemble the controller, and even share with you guys some things that I ran into to watch out for when I was disassembling the other controller to get the joystick. But let me stop talking your ear off and let's get into this. So the good news is you're not going to need much at all to do this job. You can get everything you need for this at the dollar store with a little eyeglass kit that they have, little eyeglass screwdrivers. This right here, which I believe is the smallest out of the eyeglass set screwdrivers. I don't know if you can see it too well, but this is just going to be for the screws on the back of the controller. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now also I have over here is the one size bigger of the eyeglass screwdrivers. This, along with this small flathead, are only really going to be used for prying the controller very lightly. Please do not put any type of force or pressure onto this controller. When you're trying to open it up, you will break it. If you have one or are able to get one, I would advise using a plastic pry tool, but I don't have one, so I just went ahead and used this, and it worked just fine on the other controller that I got the joystick out of. So once you have all your tools here, you're going to grab the smallest size, and you're just going to go ahead and start taking these screws out. So when you go to loosen these up, you're going to want to put it in and apply a firm pressure into it so that you don't strip it, and then carefully turn and it'll start coming. You might even hear a little click, which would mean just the screw finally knocking loose. Do that for all 4 screws. So once you have all the screws out, make sure you're doing this on a flat surface so that you can just put them aside and not lose them. And what I do is I get this flat tool that I was talking about, this flathead screwdriver, and first you want to kind of try to wiggle it, give it some pressure, and what it did for me was eventually this separated. So go ahead and keep on pulling like that. If you have a section like this that isn't coming apart really, get your screwdriver and just pry it a little bit. Another really good spot to open it up from is right here where the headphone jack is. Now once you do finally get it separated, you really want to be careful about, there's a little ribbon here. See that white ribbon? So what you want to do, put it off to the side if you can. Just be real careful with that ribbon. And you're not going to pull the white block out, but instead you're just going to pull the ribbon out of the block. Just like that. Now they're separated. Put this off to the side. Next step is going to be disconnecting the battery, and it's going to be this right here. So once again, you're not taking the whole block off. You're just taking the white connector out of the block, if you can see that. See, that's the block. You want to take the white connector out of the block. So just give it a wobble, a little wiggle as you're pulling, and see it'll come out. And from there, you will pull it out, and just remember that when you're looking at the controller, black is on top and red is on bottom. And that's exactly how it's going to plug back in. So go ahead and put the battery to the side. Now, depending on the version of the controller, whether it's a 1st gen, 2nd gen, if it's newer or older, you'll notice that certain things will be different, including the positioning of the ribbon port, the positioning of the battery connector, and also this black cover here. Now, this is actually just a holder for the battery. On the older generation controllers, even on the one that I took that analog stick out of, this black housing came off, and then I would unscrew that screw right there to go on to the next step. But I noticed just now while fidgeting with this that this cover is actually being held on by this screw as well as everything else it's holding. So it's important that if you're using an older controller, you should be able to take this off just fine first. If you're using a newer controller like this, take the screw out first, and then see that black cover comes off after you take the screw off. If you try taking this off and it's giving you too much force, look and see if that screw is holding it on. If you have a newer controller, that's probably the case. Don't keep on trying to pull it off because you're going to break it. So the next step, see this little ribbon up here? So there's a flap here. That is where you're going to pull the ribbon out from. So grab the flap with your fingernail if you can, and just pull and wiggle it out. There we go. I believe that is actually the ribbon for the touchpad. Now from here, what I found the best way is these little pillars that hold the vibration pieces of metal, whatever they're called. Grab one of those and wiggle, and then hold it here with your finger, and then grab the other one and wiggle. You'll see it separate, and carefully just separate the two. Just like that. Now this part, don't flip this back over because that's holding all of your buttons down there. And if you flip it over, they're bound to fall out. So put this aside exactly how you took it off. And now you'll reveal the front of the controller, which from here, grab the stick, firm pressure, and just pull it off. Just like that, it's off. Old one, that's going in the trash. Grab your new one. Now, if you look, the part that the stick sits on isn't perfectly round. It almost has a rectangular shape to it. And that's because there's, on the inside of the stick, there's a groove. And it has to fit right over it just like that. It's the only way it'll go on. So line them up. And push in. There we go. Now from here, you're just going to do everything in reverse. Put everything together exactly how you took it off. If you want, go ahead and rewind the video and go to certain points if you need to. And I really hope this helps you guys. And I really hope this puts an end to thinking that you have to buy a brand new controller every time there's something wrong with it. There's usually a way to fix little things like this. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you. Once again, like and subscribe for some more content, and hope you all have a great day.